morning, everyone, and welcome to the Black Book Today. I'm Sam McKee, joined by Bob Hollywood Hayden, and it's great to be here at Harrisburg.
We caught up with trainers and drivers and all kinds of people in the business who have a say in what goes on, especially with an eye towards the yearling sale. Sam, it's not only the World Series, it's World Series Game 7. Everything that happens right here.
A lot of different insights, a lot of different observations. We hope you enjoy.
If I said names like Tom Ridge to you, Strong Yankee and Cadabra, what would you probably say? Great trotters? Well, you probably would, but how about R. Peter Heffring, the owner of all three, including the two fastest trotters of all time, Tom Ridge and Strong Yankee? Mr. Heffring, 150 and 3 in a 3-heat Kentucky Futurity Strong Yankee. That was an unbelievable effort.
Yeah, it sure was. That coming that third heat in 51 and a piece, that was maybe even people have been in this game a lot longer than me had said they'd never seen anything like it.
Tell us about the people who don't know, what business were you in before this business, and how has that affected your horse racing sense?
Well, I've been in the cattle breeding business basically all my life since I got out of university, and we've had a lot of success breeding cattle and selling and merchandising cattle all over the world, and it relates. There's a lot of similarities as far as conformation and with cattle and horses and what you look for. Of course, with horses, the one thing we don't ever know is how much heart they have when they have to look another one in the eye. But the conformation and good type is important in all forms of livestock.
Tell me a little bit about, it seems like you made a little bit of a switch to the top trotters. You had the 1991 Horse of the Year, Precious Bunny.
Right.
Precious Delight was spectacular. But the last couple of years, we've seen a lot of top trotters. Why the move?
Well, just go back early on. The first good horse I really ever owned was Santa Royal that made $428,000, something like it. As a 2-year-old, and I sold her to Lou Gaida for a nice piece of change. And then we got Precious Bunny, and we had The Day in a Life, we had Pacific Rocket, and we had some great pacers, and we got real interested in them. And
do the breeders and the consigners set the market here, or do the people buying the horses set the market?
Well, the market, always the buyers set the market. I mean, if the buying power, if there's lots of money out there and the buying power is there, I mean, horses are going to bring more money. But we have more yearlings on the market than we've ever had, and it's a supply and demand thing, and we don't enjoy the luxury that the thoroughbred people have right now, with all kinds of buyers, particularly offshore buyers, paying big bucks. We have to deal with what we have, and so our market is going to tend to be it has its limits, because we just got more yearlings than we do buyers.
Well, if you want to see Mr. Heffring again, look for him in the trotting Triple Crown Winner's Circle next couple of years. He's been a frequent flyer in that realm last couple of seasons. Before I talk to my guest, I'm going to say 2 words. Oh, brother. That's right. Brothers as in Angus Hall, Conway Hall, and then Andover Hall. Bob Stewart trained all 3. Bob, tell us a little bit about what was it like to train 3 brothers, especially at that level?
Well, it was really something. Conway started it, and we bought Conway, and then we came back and bought his brother, who turned out that was Angus Hall, and then we came back and Mr. Lockenden bought Andover Hall, and we were fortunate enough to be able to train them, and they took us to places we'd never been to before. I mean, Conway Hall, one in Milan, Italy, and they were just 3 great horses.
Now, at yearling sales here, now aside from those 3 trotters, how much of what you look at is preparation, you come ready to go, but good fortune part of it also?
Oh, no question. It's at the best, it's an educated guess, and you take everything into effect that you can, but it's still just an educated guess.
I talked to Joe Holloway. He said the first thing he does is look at the page. The breeding page is most important to him. Is that the same for you?
Well, not necessarily. I would say before, in the past, I would say that that you could look at, and certain sires would, most of the good horses came from a very select group of sires. But I think it's getting a little more like the thoroughbreds, where they can come from anywhere. And I think at this sale or Lexington, if one of the horses turns out to be very good, you can go back and look at that page and make a statement for why it happened. So I think actually I'm a little more individual oriented.
If you're looking at the Andover Halls, look up Bob Stewart. He's the man who trained the great Andover Hall. Good luck in the sale, Bob.
Thank you.
We're joined by Joe Thompson from Winback Farm. Joe, tell us a little bit about yearlings. When does the marketing of a yearling actually begin?
Well, you probably could say, it starts in the summer, but I like to think of it as you go back. Right now, we're trying to decide what we're going to sell 3 years from now. How would you like that job? I don't think any corporation in America would like that job, to figure out what they're going to sell 3 years from now. So we'll start to look at the sales, we'll start to look at the results, we'll start to pick who we're going to breed to next year. They'll have a foal the following year, and then we'll sell them 3 years from now.
Okay, you got a newcomer to the business, he's got ample funds. Does he go the yearling route or the racehorse route?
Well, lately with the slots and where they appear, it seems like a lot of people are going the racehorse route. Now, being a breeder, what we prefer to do, obviously, we like to get them in the breeding side, in the breeder side of things. And then, so you really have three kind of markets there. You have the racehorse market, you have the Grand Circuit market, and then you have the sire stakes market. And then I guess you have a fourth area, which would be the overnights. And so probably the quickest way to get in is with claimers. But I think it's more fun probably to buy a young athlete, pick your team, let them get going, go into a state that has a good program where you can make some money. And then if they're good enough, then they break out of that and go on the Grand Circuit where the big races are, and you race for a lot of money.
Now, if 10 people are looking at a yearling you take out, do they all see something different? Do 10 people see 10 different things?
Probably if they went deep enough, but most everybody, I think, tries to look at a horse look at the overall perception of what a horse looks like, whether he looks like an athlete or whether he looks like a plow horse or what have you, and separate them that way. And then everybody's big on the front legs, everybody's big on the bodies, and body condition. We're big on body condition here, and hopefully the pedigrees and the success and so forth will bring people in. And when you say, some people will come because of the brand name they've had good luck with the horses that they bought from you. So, you'll always get those people that'll come back. So, yeah, I guess there's a million different ways people look at it. So it's not just looking at the horse, but it's looking at overall how well the farm's done, what the mares are like. And you find a lot of people that they might erase horses from that family, so they'll come back to that family.
Now, who sets the market here? Is it the breeders and the consigners, or does the public set the market?
I think it's really a combination of both. I mean, you take some big farms and, they breed their mares to the right horses, and those horses are going to show up. There's always the exception. Now, obviously, most people would think that it's the public is going to set the market, but I think that some of the bigger names, they breed their great mares to some of the horses, and they at least tone the market.
Well, we're joined now by Mr. George Siegel, and George, you have to be just tickled to death with the success of your horse, Western Ideal. He was a great racehorse for you. He's turned into an even better stallion.
Well, I'm very excited. He's a young horse, and his first 2 crops have been tremendous.
Have you ever seen a young stallion dominate the sport like he has? World record freshman from his first crop, and his oldest colts are 3-year-olds and at the top of the earnings charts again.
Well, I've seen good first crop sires come out, but never a first crop sire to lead the parade like he has. I don't even think Arts Place was the top sire in his first year with his first 2 crops. To have Cabrini and Rock and Roll and American Ideal is the top 3 horses is quite a feat. It's not a surprise, but it's very exciting.
Is there a secret to his success as far as the types of mares he's been bred to?
No, I think he's been bred to all different kinds. American Ideal is a Matt Scooter mare, and Rock and Roll is a direct Scooter mare, and Cabrini, just a completely, I believe, a run-the-table mare, and they're all different. One thing that they do have in common is that they were all great mares that were bred to him. Some of the other mares were not of the stature, but still produced very good horses.
Is it safe to assume you'll be looking at some Western Ideal yearlings here at Harrisburg?
I'm always looking at Western Ideal. Western Ideal first and Arts Place second.
George Siegel, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
We're joined by Lou Damiano here at the yearling sale. Lou, tell us a little bit about breeding, conformation, and attitude. What's the most important there for buying a yearling?
All 3. There is not one single most important factor. We look at all 3 when we're buying, and I think it's wise for all yearling buyers to use that into their consideration.
had some really top horses. I'm thinking right now Art Major, Self Possessed, McCardle. When you get those horses, do you leave here with a good feeling that they're going to be the one?
Not always. Sometimes I've left here with the feeling that I've had a great success buying and the horses just don't work out. And other times I leave here saying that I really thought I should have bought another one or bought another one that I could have bought or was underbidder on one, and sometimes they don't work out. So there's really no pattern for what works out. You just have to be very lucky.
I know in sports they say don't get too high, don't get too low. If you have an off year or a great year, should you go back to the sales the following year and kind of keep to the same pattern you've had all along?
I think that's a smart idea. You know, we've sometimes get a little caught up when you have a syndicated horse. We can go back to the year in Lexington when we bought the brother to Self Possessed the next year, Experience Victory, and he was $650,000, most expensive trotter at the time ever sold, and probably still is. And nobody experienced any victory with him. He just didn't work out. So the fact that we had the brother Self Possessed, we thought this was a no-brainer, and it really didn't work out. So we just kind of try to stick with our game plan.
Do you set budgets for yourself? And if you do, what makes you exceed that budget?
I think everybody you talk to down here would say we have a budget and we have so much to spend on horses. But when you get caught up in the yearling hype and in the market and you say go another 5 or go another 10, and sometimes it just, you know, you get caught up in the frenzy of bidding and you go over budget.
Now, do you stick with the formula that got you there? I mean, say you're successful with Cam Feller horses. Do you stay with that, or do you have to be willing to change?
I think a lot of people do that. I'm one that does not. I've had luck, you know, with just a lot of new crop, first crop sires, and I've had luck with, you know, inexpensive yearlings that have made a lot of money. So if you go with some people stick with the same families, and I've seen that, and some people work out. I mean, Jeff Snyder's been a testimony to that with the Rich and Elegant family, but there's a lot of people that I see stick with certain families that don't work out, so I'd have to say no.
Are you part of the first crop craze?
I always try to buy a couple first crop horses every year. We buy 4 or 5 from every first crop, and sometimes you get lucky with that.
Well, I'd like to thank Lou Damiano for stopping by. Have another good year with the yearlings, Lou.
Thank you.
We're joined by trainer Norm Parker, the man behind the top free-for-all pacing mare Arbitration. And Norm, you're kind of a bargain shopper here at Harrisburg. You're looking at more of the low-end yearlings. What are some of the things that catch your eye?
Well, we still always look for pedigree, Sam, and that's an important part. Is if we find the pedigree we like, the possibility of maybe overlooking a flaw that some other trainer or owner might not let go, and that's what we kind of do. We look for something that we can overlook that still allow the pedigree to come through.
Now, are you looking for Pennsylvania eligible types, so you have a fallback plan with them? Or?
You know, not really. I kind of look for the individual. I mean, you know, we got a truck and trailer, we can ship and race where we have to.
And you've had a lot of success with horses like Arbitration and some other ones that have worked out real well for you recently. Concentrating on pacers, or will you train a trotter too?
Oh, I train trotters also. I mean, it just depends on what your owners at the time want, and lately it's been pacers.
Well, chances are good, folks. If you're looking for a bargain, follow this guy around because he can sift through them and find them for you. Norm, best of luck.
Thanks, Sam.
When you work for Billy Houghton, it's no surprise that when you go on your own, you go and win a Little Brown Jug, as Kelly O'Donnell, my guest, has done. Kelly won this year's Little Brown Jug with P47, and you had a couple others in there. What was that experience like, Kelly?
Oh, it was great, Bob. We had another colt, up front Jerry, Western Hanover colt. He was third in his elimination. And then we had a Dragon Again colt, up front Tornado. He won his elimination, and then P47 won his elimination in the final. It was just great, especially being from Ohio. It was just super.
I guess I thought, just like everybody else, that the day you won the Jug, it would be with a Dragon Again, since you trained him. What was that experience like winning with the son of the Ponderosa, though?
Well, during the final, I wouldn't have cared just as long as we won it, but it would have been nice to win it with the Dragon Again. But it turned out to be the Ponderosa, so in the end it was just a lot of great fun and just a super day.
But the next Triple Crown leg did go to a son of Dragon Again, Gryffindor. That's not your horse, but Dragon Again, a great racehorse, as you know, over $1 million, but turned out to be a pretty effective sire, didn't he?
Yeah, he's really coming along. He had a little slow start this year, but he's come along here late. Like you say, Gryffindor winning the Messenger, and then that real good 2-year-old filly, My Little Dragon, won both heats in Lexington. Then she won again last night in the Matron, off a long rest. So he's showing now that looked like it was colts, but now he's showing he can sire fillies too. So
now at a yearling sale, tell us how much of it is luck, how much of it is preparation?
Well, there's a lot of both. I mean, there's a lot of preparation, a lot of looking, a lot of grading them out, trying to find perfect conformation. But it's just it's like anything else. We can't measure their heart, and that's the bottom line, is how much heart they have and how fast they can go. So we can't see that. So I mean, it's a little of both.
Okay, Kelly O'Donnell, thanks for stopping by, and I hope that wasn't your last joke. I hope there's many more to come.
Thank you.
Well, Harrisburg is the biggest sale of the year, so we get right to last year's biggest money-winning trainer of the season, Mark Harder. Led all trainers last year in North America, all conditioners in money. Mark, tell us a little bit about what's going on with you right now at the sale here at Harrisburg.
Just got clients, same as everybody else, checking out the horses, and trying to put a few nice yearlings in the barn for next year.
Now, you're from New Zealand. Do they have these kind of big sales down there too?
Nothing this size, there's one main sale that's, a decent size, but obviously a smaller country, we don't have the weight of numbers that there are here.
You train both younger and older horses early in the week. Obviously, there's some yearlings. Where's your concentration going the most? Is it early in the week, middle, late, what?
We're just looking for value, looking for pedigrees, we've got a few sires. Most of my clients, have got a few sires picked out in particular that they like. And we try to stick with those things when we come in here.
When you are the #1 money-winning trainer, do you have a budget for horses too?
My wife gives me a budget.
How about, tell us a little bit about horses from different sires, because several of the interviews we've done here, they mention that the good horses come from just about anywhere nowadays.
Yeah, they do, but my clients, like I say, they've pretty much got picked out, particular size that they really try to concentrate on. But you know what? Everybody's trying to find that good horse anywhere.
Yeah, a lot of trotting and paces go for a lot of money early in 2-year-old season. Will you be looking a little bit maybe in that area too, some of the early 2-year-old stakes?
No, it comes down to the clients. I know somebody's got to get that early money, but most of my people are looking to be a little more conservative, and they wait till a little later in the year.
Okay, Mark Harder, thanks for stopping by, and good luck for another big year in 2005 and 6.
Thank you.
We're going to mention 4 horses' names. How's this? Arts Place, Life Sign, Western Hanover, and Western Ideal. The man to my left, Bruce Regal, has something to do with all 4 of those horses. His father, too, Gene Regal, trained all 4. Bruce, you drove the first 3, Arts Place, Life Sign, and Western Hanover first. Tell us a little bit about that, and can you tell a great racehorse if they're going to be a great sire?
Well, I believe you can when especially when you get in behind the gate. You can tell by their how they feel and if their desire and if they want to be the horse be a great horse. And that's the biggest part. If they want to do it and they got their hearts into it, they got a gate and they're bred great, why they got a pretty good shot.
And your father trained those big 3 straight years too.
Right.
How difficult is it to try to duplicate that even one more time?
Well, as far as I know, nobody's ever done that. I mean, especially, train 3 great horses like that to beat 3 great, sires. I mean, that's just unbelievable.
That's right, Arts Place, Life Sign, and Western Hanover. But Western Ideal is very well received. The 3 leading money horses this year are all sons and daughters of Western Ideal. Does that surprise you at all?
No, because, my dad always thought the world of that horse, and his gait and his ability and his desire, to be #1 was, pretty good. So
now you've had some success with trotters too, Worldly Woman, some others. Tell us a little bit about the sale here. What are you looking at? Are you looking at trotters or pacers?
Both.
Okay. And any success so far? Any luck? Do you get anything you like?
It's kind of tough sledding. Everything I like, everybody else likes more. And it's got a bigger pocketbook.
Yeah, the first couple of days usually like that here. Tell us a little bit about. We're talking. A lot of people seem to agree that good and top horses really nowadays come from all over. What's your take on that?
Pretty much so. I mean, I think most of them they come from all over, but I think your top stake horses that are there every year. The sires, they kind of stamp themselves, and they're in the top 5 group every year. So I mean, everybody kind of leans towards those sires. And that's what makes the market so tough, because the people that has lots of money, they pinpoint on those top sires, and for a smaller guy to try to outbid them, you can't. So you end up with lesser horses, and you take the sire that not quite as good, and you hope you can beat that horse that you didn't get.
You got to kind of slide in the back door a little bit.
Exactly. I mean, that's the way it is. I mean, that's that's the way they got to sail.
Well, this is a what have you done for me lately business, Bruce Regal, so you can't leave here without anything.
That's true.
Bruce Regal, father Gene Regal, Hall of Famer. They've been associated with lots of top horses. Arts Place, Life Sign, and Western Hanover, now Western Ideal. Unbelievable foursome. I've got a unique daily double for you. How would you like to train the fastest older trotter of the year and have trained horses for George Steinbrenner? Mr. Bill Gallagher has done both. Hell of a Hush, 151 this year, Bill, and he trained for George. First the trotter. What a great year he's had.
Yeah, it's turned out just unbelievable for Joe Schnapko there. Just the horse blossomed into something we actually thought he would be.
He was always a good horse, but he stepped up to that next level.
Yeah, he did. I think it's all because of his 4-year-old year. No stake racing, just overnights. Don't beat him up. Teach him to be a good horse.
So that's a 5-year-old, but now we're at the yearling sale. Now tell us a little bit about what you're looking at here for the yearlings. What are you buying?
All trotters, that's it. I bought one here for John Leviakis in California, bought a few for him in Kentucky. Joe's looking for some, and hopefully I'll get the phone call from George Steinbrenner.
Yeah, now what about George? George still active? We had another George Foreman who's active. We want this George Steinbrenner involved too. What's the story?
Pretty much after Alan Finkelstein died, he backed out of the game a little bit, but I'm in contact with him at least once, twice a year, and he's always like, if you find a good one, let me know.
And he's already been down to Robert Goodwin's Incredible Finale and some other horses too, so he's had the taste of winning. So now we're going to leave it up to you to get George Steinbrenner back into business, especially with the Yankees, not world champions since 2000, so we need some work done here on your part.
Yeah, well, there's always next year. We'll keep doing it.
Now, what about the people who say, wait a second, Bill Gallagher, he got lucky with a good horse. You got something to prove next couple of years?
Oh, yeah. I always do. You're only as good as your last race, and that's just the way it happens. Personal Banner beat Moneymaker. Hell of a Hush beat Mr. Muscleman. You have to stay in the limelight. If you don't, they'll forget about you.
You also need full pockets where some of these horses are going.
Oh, yeah. A lot of quality here. And Overhaul being the first-year sire, everybody, it's all speculation, but you have to dig deep to figure it out.
Okay, Bill Gallagher, keep up the success. 151 with the fastest older trotter of the year, and tell George we all said hello. In 2003, there was a clean sweep for Horse of the Year. It was the owner, trainer, driver, and Ivan Sugg trained, no pan intended, the Horse of the Year. That's right, 2003. Seems like a long time ago, Ivan, but no pan intended has now been moved, right, as a stud?
Yeah, he was moved a couple weeks ago to Hanover.
Okay, tell us a little bit about how he was received as a stud in his first couple of years.
Yeah, first year his book was overwhelmed. I think they bred 200 mares to him. And last year, I think he dropped down considerably to what he was the first year, which usually happens, but I still think he had a fairly good booking.
Is it safe to say that no pan intended kind of came out of nowhere? As a 2-year-old, he was a nice horse, but not a real top horse, and then he just kind of exploded onto the scene. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, it's a pretty good assessment. He didn't really all at once, but he gradually just started overcoming the 3-year-olds, and he just outdueled them the rest of the year after he caught up once.
How does business for a trainer of the year with a horse of the year pick up the following year? How'd that go?
Well, it didn't seem to change any too much. You're very recognizable after that year, but the business-wise, it didn't change.
You're at the yearling sales now. Breeding, conformation, attitude. What's the most important thing you look for when you look at a yearling?
Well, I think breeding and conformation is the two things you got to look at. Breeding exceptional is the main thing to get your speed, but you got to have the conformation to go along with it.
When you're a horse of the year trainer, do you still have a budget too? And if you have a budget, what makes you step over that a little bit?
Oh, if you get something you really like good, you might go a little farther than you'd like to, but usually you kind of stick to what you got to spend anyway.
Okay, Ivan Sugg, he's at the sales looking for Lightning to strike once again after he had the Horse of the Year in 2003. Back in 1999, $37,000 was the tag, the yearling tag for a horse called Bunny Lake. 2001, she was the Horse of the Year in harness racing. John Stark picked her out. John Stark trained and drove the great daughter of Precious Bunny. John, how are you doing here at the sale so far?
Oh, just watching.
Is that the way to go at a sale, is to take a shot like that with a horse, one or two horses, and just keep your fingers crossed?
Yeah, you got to get lucky. You hope to pay a reasonable, smallest amount possible to get a good horse. And I kind of try to buy horses where I think I can make that money back in 1 year. So.
When you bought Bunny Lake, was it the breeding, the conformation, the sire? What was it?
Actually, it was the sire of New York. We just wanted to race a horse in New York, and couple other ones we were looking at. Didn't seem, what we wanted, but she kind of stuck out like, something we liked.
So it's like jurisdictional, like it's something for everybody. If you're a New York sire or maybe Ohio or Florida or Canada, you can basically concentrate in that area.
Well, that's what I do. I'm from New York, so I just pick out New York breds, and it makes it a lot easier because there's not that many, and so I know what to look for.
Then what do you do for an encore after you have Horse of the Year? You come in at the yearling sale the next couple of years. You try to duplicate that? You stay in the same family? You go somewhere else? You vary your style? What do you do?
Well, actually, prices dictate mostly what I do. I just try to find the best individual for the price. I don't really like to pay more chase horses because they look good. We set a price and we kind of stick there and hope we get it.
Now, yearling owners, a lot of times you can get groups together that can own 3 or 4 people can own the same horse, right?
Yeah, most of my owners don't like that. They baby 2 owners at a time, and which I don't blame. They like controlling interest. They just want to make the decisions, and they don't want to have to talk to 2 or 3 other people that do it. So.
Yeah, well, John Stark paid $37,000 in 1999 for Bunny Lake, and she made $2.8 million, the second richest female of all time. I call that a good investment. Thanks for stopping by, John.
All right, thanks.